Welcome back. My name is Tom through thisiszeronews. I do apologise for the slightly scattered intro. Just as I'm using the screen as a monitor, and just as I was about to say, "Hi, I'm Tom Suri," the TV decided to auto turn off. So yeah, good start. Before I make a start, this isn't going to be a massively long one, but before I make a start, I just want to apologise to um, everybody from Danny Roscoe to Kaylee to Group D, you know who you are, and a few other people. As last time I signed off from doing anything, I think I signed off either a live or an upload, and I think it'd been about 3 nights then, and I'd only had a couple of hours sleep. So I was absolutely certain that what would follow would be sleep. I was certain of it. Didn't happen. Something else twigged off in my mind. To me, it was something technical, and I spent most of the night doing it again. So we went into another night. So then sometime yesterday, and I don't exactly know when, I passed out and I woke up. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. So yeah. So my apologies to those people. So why have I brought you here today? Basically just an update. I started following certain stories with you and for you and stuff like that, and I felt it was kind of a duty to keep up with it. But also as well, I'm concerned about a couple of things that I've seen. In fact, I'm going to start on this. I'm concerned about something that I'm seeing at the moment. That is, everyone's attention is on WhatsApp because of the obvious takeover and the lack of privacy that will therefore ensue. Although I really do think people overestimated the privacy they had beforehand. But regardless, so I'm seeing as a mass worry, and I'm starting to see people already leaving WhatsApp. The more information that they get, that's fine. What I did want to warn people of is that everybody's focused on WhatsApp, and I've seen. And I haven't had time to get things to show you, and things are only coming out slowly anyway. But I've seen Google, Amazon, Twitter, and other bodies also making huge changes to their terms of service, which is going mostly unnoticed. And a lot of those do start to infringe upon what you can and can't do. And nobody's noticed because they're all focusing on WhatsApp. So it's cool that you do whatever you do with WhatsApp. That's cool. Just make sure you're aware that the terms and condition changes are happening, not just there, but to things that you may not even realize. I mean, thing is with Amazon, the reason it's so dangerous with them is not only have they got all your purchase details, everything like that, but they provide, I think it's over 50% of the ISP space on the planet. And this is what I wanted to come into with Parler. So Parler is a story we've been looking at, and we said one of the big problems with Parler is that it was a startup, and as a result, startup company is fighting big tech, and so they made a statement in two ways, both verbally and indeed, and that is that if you now go to the Parler URL on the internet, you'll get a page that comes up and it says, "Hello world, this thing is this thing on?" It says, "Now seems like the right time to remind you all, both lovers and haters, why we started this platform. We believe privacy is paramount and free speech is essential, especially on social media. Our aim has always been to provide a non-partisan public square where individuals can enjoy and exercise their rights to both. We resolve any challenge before us and plan to welcome all of you back soon. We will not let civil discourse perish." So the thing that they're trying to state there as well, which has been very true. They've been called a platform for the right and all the rest of it, and actually, it's not really very fair. What they did was they started a free speech platform that's open to anybody, and all the lefties stayed away from it and all pointed to it as a Nazi echo chamber, and that narrative has grown and grown and grown. When actually it's never really ever done anything but put itself in a position of a free speech site. Anyway, so obviously in the background they're probably working on trying to find another server space, but I think the reason that they've put this up is that Amazon technically are in breach of their contract. So in order to cut Parler off, Amazon should have, by the terms of the contract that they have with all the people that have on their service, they should have given them 30 days to find somewhere else before they remove them. They gave them 24 hours. Also, they become non-responsive in communication. Bear in mind, Parler's not been, what's the word, complicit in any action. Parler just doesn't want to use algorithms to deal with unwanted content. They want to have a panel of jurors, which I think is a much more sensible option, but it's not as quick and it's not as ruthless as the algorithms are, and it doesn't invade on privacy. So I think that what they're trying to do, because they know they're in a legally good position and probably a financially bad position, is that I think they're trying to force Amazon to turn the key back on. And whether it be for 30 days or whether it be for the rest of their tenure, I don't know. Maybe some of you know, but Trump's appeared back on all the social media again. What I didn't actually see, or I said I've been out of action. I didn't see what precipitated that. How did that come about? Because I do wonder the timing of that with this suggests that there may be, if there's enough pushback, there may be a chance that Parler might actually get switched back on with the same provider. Or wouldn't that be egg on Amazon's face if that happened? And see, the thing is, I didn't realize this. Some of you may, but I didn't realize this. And this is important to understand when we're talking about free speech. And these are private platforms and they can do what they want. That's the argument that even I fall into sometimes. They're a private platform, they can do what they want. But most of us don't know what companies are connected to what companies are really as big as they are. I mean, how many of you knew that Amazon owned 50% of the ISPs on the planet? Why is that important? Because they're getting into social media. So they're hosting Parler, but guess what platform they had just made a deal with at the time they cut Parler off? Twitter. What is Parler direct competition to? Twitter. So they drop Parler at the same time as they sign a deal with Twitter. There is correlation. I'm not saying there's cause, but there's certainly correlation. And this is why people can say, oh, they're private companies. They can say what they want. But these are the reasons why that free speech and stuff should be going on with these platforms, because of this shady dealing that's going on. It's got nothing to do. It's got nothing to do with the platform being used in a certain way. It's got nothing to do with the platform's agenda. It's other people's agendas that are the problem. And anybody offering free speech right now is a thorn in the plan and in the side. So anyway, so Parler have made a statement in two ways. You could say to say we're not going anywhere. Now, I've heard those statements from companies before and they've disappeared, but I honestly do think they'll be back. I think what they're trying to do is break Amazon's back first and try and get back on there. Maybe because they paid out for, I'm not sure. Maybe they just because they know they're in the right and they know that they can break them. I'm not sure. The other thing that people should rightfully fear, and I've seen a lot of fear of in recent days, weeks, months, is Facebook. But what might please you to know, and what it would be good for you to go and watch as much of this as possible, because the more awareness of the subject from people, the more likelihood it won't slide under the radar, and these people carry on getting away with it. And that is, Zuckerberg now is facing, from the left and the right, real pressure now to break up Facebook, break up its monopoly with Oculus. As I said to you on a previous podcast, Oculus is now taking over the VR market, and you have to have Facebook to use it. This has caused a problem with the German government and the American government. And just generally speaking, the wanton practices of Facebook are literally the worst that I've seen on the internet. They don't really have any standards, and yet whilst constantly trying to force theirs down other people's throats. So Facebook is the one to watch, but they actually do face a genuine chance of being broken up, potentially this year. And the more support and the more eyes on that story, I think the better, because it's happened before. I mean, so it happened to Microsoft, although I will say Microsoft seemed to just pretty much ignore it. But it is doable. And I think the time is coming where social media platforms are going to have to make a choice. And the choice may not be one you like, as in they may decide to become a publisher and then kick you all off. But then that leaves room for new social media sites to come up and offer the free speech that, I mean, you think that Parler, I think Parler's an American company, isn't it? So you think that they're trying to stick to the amendments of their own country, and they can't. That's crazy. You know, I think very minimum, they should be able to do that. If they're an American company, they should be able to use those amendments to defend themselves. They can't. It shows you the position we're in with free speech, and free speech being so important, as free speech being the one freedom that allows us to do any other type of criticism or fighting back of anything else that we see as being wrong. So, I mean, I titled the episode "Children of the Damned" because, as I sat here thinking today, that there's a rise of the far right. There is a rise of the far right now, and something we always sort of knew would come if the far left kept up. Well, we've got the rise of the far right. We've got the far left in way too much power and too much control. And so, really, you are the damned, and your children are children of the damned. If we at least don't show some integrity and fight for, and it seems weird to use the word fight and reason in the same sentence, but fight for reason. If people are going to such polar opposites, I've been really disturbed recently that even I have been expected in some cases to stick to the narrative, to toe the line. And by the way, not expected by people in high ups in movements. No, they give me all the freedom in the world. I mean, by people watching, there's certain narratives, and I find that disturbing. I would much rather know that someone was speaking from their own mind than from a hymn sheet. So I find it disturbing when you veer off the narrative, how uncomfortable that makes people. They feel like they suddenly don't know you, and it's like, do you really want to be able to predict every word that comes out of my mouth? How boring and how sterile a world would that be? That's what the left wants. That's not what I want. So, there are things I will criticize, and there are things I will say, like there's a rise of the far right, which people won't like me saying, because they're like, well, you're giving credence to it now. But it's like, no, as partly a social commentator, my job is to commentate, and in some ways almost do a working class epitaph for this country. But I do think this is something that you need to figure, that your children will be children of the damned if we don't find a way, even if we lose, to have some integrity in that loss, for people to understand it was fought for. And so like I said to you, I just want to get on and off this podcast. Really, I'm still, after all that non-sleeping, not quite there yet. But the good thing about having this set up is, at least when I'm feeling physically crap, I can still talk to you, which is a level up, because we never used to be able to do that. I feel comfortable to do that now, so that's one good thing. But you may remember months ago I did a episode entitled "Don't Adjust Your Set." And what I was addressing was the fact that the net neutrality argument that people like me were fighting years and years and years ago, that we lost, has meant that more people working at home during the pandemic has meant that the internet has become woefully unstable. From Wi-Fi signal to internet TV to just regular internet, it's become massively unstable. Whilst the business tier, it was never meant to be a tiered system, but the business tier, which I've now got on record as existing, is not virtually unused, but as the traffic's way down. What I'm trying to tell you is that the problems we're having don't need to happen, but these tiers are now so almost physically different, that, as to say, that they can't be used for the swelling tier that we're in at the moment. So the reason I'm bringing this up to you a second time is because what it will cause is for you to make a complaint to, say, someone like BT or whoever you're with. They'll ask you to check all your equipment over and over again, every single phone call that you make, and I will save you some time. Tell them you've already done it. If you do it once, you don't need to do it 2 weeks later. Tell them you've already done it. And what you'll find is that they'll end up saying, "I will send you a new router." All this is a waste of time. All this is a waste of time. In most people's cases, what is going on right now is out of your control. And if you speak to someone like BT on a day when perhaps you're ready to leave, and they're prepared to be honest because they've got nothing else to lose, they'll tell you. They'll tell you um, we're completely so well overwhelmed on this tier. And I've tried to ask them why they can't open up the other tier. They can't talk about it. But this is the net neutrality argument we were having a long, long time ago, and this is one of the consequences of us losing it. But like I say, the people thinking that they're everything from a Amazon, what do you call it? You know, the Alexa to to internet TV. It's all going wrong, and some of the side effects of having a laggy overfilled internet you wouldn't predict. So it may actually affect your equipment inside your house. It's like, well, what's that got to do with my internet per se? My wireless signal being all over the place. It's because there's a constant lag. 1 minute is a surge of information, then there's a lag. There's stuff going on all over the place. So you can see this in certain types of games. It's always existed. If there's not enough bandwidth, you'll see things jump from place to place as it tries to reset itself. So yeah, so do not adjust your set, as in just make sure that you're not in a game where you're being sent new equipment, then you've got to return your old equipment every month or something like that. When if you have an honest conversation with someone a bit further up the tech tree at these companies, they'll tell you, they'll make sure the equipment's not broken, but then they'll tell you that we're having problems. It's one of the reasons why I chose now as the time to go, although it doesn't make that much difference, to go completely wireless, meaning that my router is now run by a SIM card. It was part of the reason why. Although I will say there's still issues there as well. But anyway, yes. So I just wanted to warn you of this because I know there's going to be a lot of people. There is going to be. There has already been a lot of people who are buying new equipment, doing all kinds of stuff, thinking it's their fault or whatever. It's in most cases it's really not your fault, not at all. So just to recap, so with the WhatsApp thing, great if you're leaving WhatsApp. We'll find something else. I don't know what other ones people are going to use, Viber or Telegram or whatever. Don't really care. But just bear in mind what I said earlier on. I'm seeing terms and conditions changing on nearly all of the major players on the internet. Make sure you have an eye open to that as well. Otherwise, you may find yourself protecting yourself one way and leaving yourself completely wide open the other. So, and as for Parler, you know, like I say, they've made this statement. They don't seem to be going anywhere. And we'll just keep an eye on it. And with them having that domain space there, they're planning on coming back. It's just how. It's just how. So all we can do is wait and see. I'm hearing now there's a lot of reports in my local area now of people being fined for allegedly not having masks or going out when they shouldn't be. I'm hearing these reports secondhand, but obviously the reason I haven't got out the last couple of days I've already explained, but I'm hoping to get a decent night's sleep tonight so I can get out. Hopefully the weather will hold. Because I want to go and test this now. These reports were non-existent. This was life around here was like normal up until a couple of days ago, and then my phone's been going off time and time again with stories, just rumors, stories. But I want to go and check it out. So again, depending on the weather and everything else, or in the next, I don't want to say tomorrow in case it does chuck it down because my scooter is possibly not waterproof, but as soon as I can move around, because we've got no public transport around here, I'm going to be getting out, and I'll probably do it first thing in the morning. So I've got out, and then I know we've done it. So that's it. So I'm going to leave it there. And if there's anything you think I've forgotten, or if there's any chosen platform you guys have got, let us know in the comments. And also as well, I said to you, I'm really not sure how Trump got reinstated. If anybody knows and could link me to how that happened, how he got back on the social media platforms, I'd be very interested to know because I missed that completely. And that's it from me. I did say it'd be a quick one in and out. Sorry, I'm just trying to check the comments on YouTube because when you try and do them on when you try and look at the comments on StreamYard, it's absolute pants, to be totally frank with you. So just say hello to everybody. Thanks for coming and joining me. Good to see familiar names and faces. Good to have you back. I'm seeing, yeah, I feel the same as you, Looney, about having all these different platforms. It is really confusing. I mean, obviously, where we do, what's the word? This, we do need to be. I need to be on all those platforms, but it's a bit much. Oh my dear, it's very true. So I'm just going through the comments. There's a lot. I've been doing a lot of thinking about all this conspiracy stuff, and versus truth, and the truth does lie somewhere in the middle. Um, and I'm seeing so many people on our side really falling for things that we shouldn't be. Um, I feel like some of us have become, without intending to or realizing it, narrative driven. And one thing I hate is there's always a narrative to everything, right? It's always a story, but I do hate forcing it or feeling like you need to stick to something. It's that, to me, that's not critical thinking. Critical thinking is like treating everything. Okay, you may have to take history and everything into account, but it's treating everything separately, fresh, and not looking at something through your rose tinted glasses or whatever tint they have. It's difficult. I'm not saying it's an easy thing to do for all of us, but we've got to, in order to be able to work out what's true, what's false, what's right, what's wrong. Otherwise, you just, like, people talk to me all the time. I get lots of very nice comments. So don't let me. These are very minority compared to the nice comments, but nevertheless, you get a lot of people that will say to me or you, "Wake up," and it's like, wake up to what? Wake up, because a lot of people, from what I'm looking, seem to wake up, as they put it, and then go running into the first cult mode of thought that they can and fall straight back to sleep again. So it's all right saying wake up, but the real question is, can you stay awake? And from what I've seen, no. What I've seen, no. People go straight into the first cultish type thing that they can. So for me, being awake is just trying not to feel belonging to too much in terms of when you're critically thinking about it. It's a dangerous, not dangerous, but dangerous in terms of thought. Sorry, just catching up. Yeah, so if I did, I think I did say at the beginning, but I so big sorry to, and to vindicate Dave as well, because that was the name that I was missing, because we hadn't, what's the word? Because we haven't done our part two yet. So to all those people that I mentioned at the beginning as well, just want to get one more sleep under my belt, and I'll be back for real. Um, just going through. Oh my God, what is? I'm not even gonna name the person. I'm not even gonna name the person, but what a twat! It's what a twat, and you all know what I'm talking about in the comments. But the one thing it does, hey, Busker, the one thing it does do though is it highlights, when you see that in the comments, one twat versus all those really good people. So I think we can handle it. Do you know what I mean? I think we can handle it. So yeah, feel free to annihilate anybody that you need to, guys. Right. Um, like Kaylee, just pull the trigger when you need to. I mean, that's something even Bolton said to you right at the beginning. Just pull the trigger when you need to. I understand where you're coming from. I don't like, and I won't get rid of my own trolls, but I'm the guy putting my face on camera. You're here just trying to do your thing and be part of Zero News. So fire that gun. It's there. So I see Dave Vindicators in there as well. Hey, Dave. Hey, everybody. Anybody I've missed? Any names I've missed? I hope you're all doing okay. Hold it up, my friends. And like I say, just know I'm sorry I haven't got out, but I will be getting out, especially now I'm hearing these reports of what's happening in this area. I'm going to go out, test this, and we've got something as well coming, I don't know, soon, that should test the legality of certain things as well. So we're going to go and find out what we can. Thanks for watching. I'm Tom Suri. This is Zero News. I'm calling it a day for now.
Welcome to the desert.